Hello, everyone, and today I wanted to talk about the new Eminem album, The Death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grace, of it that just came out, and this is the 12th studio album by the one and only Marshal Mathers, Eminem, and there's a lot to unpack that's happened with that, and this is coming from a guy who grew up, like, listening to a lot of Eminem. I used to be, like, a giant fan of Eminem, and he will always have like a small place in like my heart when it comes to musically. As for a lot of people, he was an introduction to rap music for a lot of people getting into their thing of it. But that doesn't mean we can't ignore the latter half of his career, which is a majority of my time of listening to him has been his latest albums, such as Revival, which was awful, definitely his worst album. He had Kamikaze, which at the time when I was like in middle school, I think it might have been 8th grade when that album came out for me. I thought it was good, but as like I get older, I just like it less and less of it. Like there's still a couple like good songs on there, and there's songs that were decent at the time, but overall I just don't think it's not one to write home about. And then he released Music to Be Murdered By, which I'm being honest, I didn't think was bad. And then he released the B-sides of it, and like I just didn't like it. It just kind of watered it down. Like anything redeemable about that album, which I still didn't think it was like an amazing album or anything of it, but I at least thought it was better than the other stuff he had made. And then he kind of like lowered it a lot with the B-sides, because then you just had a bunch of like trash with it. But now I believe he might have released the album like 2021 of it. It's been a couple years, been like 3 years now of it, and he had released the singles Houdini, which I remember was being talked about like everywhere. I think it like debuted at like number 2 and was only beat out by Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. So that's kind of a big deal of it. It was on TikTok, everyone was talking about it. Gen Z's trying to cancel Eminem, which I'll get into that later as a member of Gen Z. And he had Toby, which didn't like kind of flew a little more under the radar. I personally I liked Toby. I thought Toby was a pretty decent track. I liked the aspect of having like 3 rappers from like either from Detroit or around that area in Michigan, because you had Big Sean, who I do like Big Sean. And you had Babytron, who I'm not really that familiar with, but I don't think he did bad in it of it. And this entire album, as I said, The Death of Slim Shady, is supposed to be built on this concept of like, his alter ego Slim Shady, who has been like a scapegoat for a lot of his antics and stuff he said, and his persona. It let him, I don't know, I guess internalize being able to say stuff that he did back then of it. And songs like My Name Is, The Real Slim Shady, Without Me of it. You had this like Robin from like Batman like costume thing that he had in the Houdini music video of it. But this entire concept of him is like killing off the Slim Shady character, as the album cover is like this like body bag of Eminem. And I'm just gonna say it, I think the album cover looks kind of goofy. Like I'm just gonna be honest, it just isn't that good thing of it. But we're gonna get onto the music now thing of it, where I thought as an opener, which it was a fairly short song, it was like a minute and a half maybe, Renaissance, which you had him singing fast of it, but not like where he's cutting off words early to fit more words in there to just rap faster, that he's been doing for a while now, that to me at least, I just find annoying of it. But he wasn't doing on that. He was actually, rapping fast, but also having some substance in there, which I did like on there. And then it kind of, at least for me, teared off. This album was a lot of like, you get a decent song, a mid song, maybe a bad song here and there, and then maybe another good song. It was just kind of a mixed bag, and I'm not usually the biggest fan of that. You had Habits featuring like White Gold, which nothing, at least to me, nothing really to write home about of it. And then you had a short little skit, Trouble, which the skits on this album were fine, I guess. It just wasn't, none of them were really that interesting to me of it. First song in here that like I actually kind of was bopping with was Brand New Dance. I liked the beat on it. I kind of, it was reminiscent of like old school Eminem, which I was fine with. I thought it was decent. My only thing of it, and I'll be repeating it, is I'm just not a big fan of like rehashing old stuff of it, like just kind of trying to fall back into it, because it just kind of projects a thing of like not being able to do decent or good otherwise of it. But he's referencing like Christopher Reeves, which I'm pretty sure, I don't remember, there's like an old Eminem song where he references like Christopher Reeves, where he says like put down Christopher Reeves' leg, and then I can't remember, I think it might have been Criminal. It's over that, or it's I'm Back. It's whatever, and it's an album from the Marshall Mathers LP of it. So he's kind of bringing that one back of it, which I don't know how many people know who Christopher Reeves is. So it just matters of it. Like, it's fine, but it's kind of it's an older school reference, unless you're like aware of like the murder thing for him. Then you had Evil, which I kind of forgot about it, I'm gonna be honest with it. And then you had a couple skits here. You had Lucifer with Sly Piper, which I thought was fine. Like, you know what? I'll say it was decent of it. I did overall like the concepts that Eminem was trying to go with, of like killing off and him fighting against this alter ego Slim Shady of his while he's being Marshall Mathers. Then you had Antichrist, which had Bizarre, who I believe was in D12, which was an old rap group that Eminem was in, like very, very iconic group of it. Overall, decent song of it. It was cool to see Bizarre on it, because I did always like Bizarre in D12. I thought he was always like probably one of my favorite ones. But overall, I felt the song just kind of dragged on at certain points of it. The lyricism never really got me. The beat wasn't interesting enough to like really keep me. But now we get on to probably my favorite song on the album, Fuel, which is featuring Jid. I love Jid. I think Jid is amazing of it, and I think he did fantastic on this song. Probably the best feature on this entire album. Probably best performance in my opinion of it. And it's just I'm very hyped for everything that Jid does of it, just because I feel like this guy very much cares about like the art of it. I'm not saying that Eminem doesn't care about the art, but I'm saying like this, it's really awesome to see like a young guy that cares this deeply about it. Like, always awesome with that. And then this is probably one of the I was giving a lot of praise, because Feel, just I liked the beat on it, the lyrics on it. Eminem also did good on it. I kind of didn't give any credit to him. Eminem also did good on this song here. Then you get it followed up by Road Rage, which is probably like my least favorite song on this entire album. It's just not good. I just don't. There's just nothing about it I was really a fan of. Like, I hated the beat. The beat, probably my least favorite beat choice. Least substance on it. Lyrics weren't really doing anything. Then you get Houdini, which you got the Abracadabra by Steve Miller Band sample on it for like the chorus thing of it. If you saw the music video of it, you have he's needing to stop Slim Shady. It's like rehashing like the Without Me music video. It was a song of it, and I think it was decent for getting like the attention of it, but I don't think it's one of the better albums on, or one of the better songs on this album, just in my opinion. You had Guilty Conscious 2, which is, if even like a little bit about like the Slim Shady LP, Guilty Conscious 1, which is probably one of my favorite like Eminem songs, because of just the back and forth of Dre, just all that stuff. Guilty Conscious 2, I thought it was fine. Obviously, it's not better than the original, but I don't think really anybody was expecting that. But overall, I think it held up, so I think it was one of the other highlights in it. Then you had like Temporary, which Skylar Grey, which I'm pretty sure the only thing and this is probably a bit of ignorance, I only really knew Skylar Grey from I Need a Doctor, of like that one Dr. Dre song of it. But it wasn't bad. I thought she did pretty good, honestly, of it. But other than that, just not the most interesting song. Then he had Bad One, which also featured White Gold, which it just wasn't it. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You had Toby, which, as I talked about at the beginning of it, featuring like Baby Tron and Big Sean, which just overall I liked it. There were some lines in the song were kind of corny, like saying like he said like I got bitten by a goat of it, like to get like Spider-Man thing. I thought it was like it's cute, And then obviously you had Guess Who's Back, like the skit thing, which, was fine of it. And then you had like Somebody Save Me, the ending song with Jelly Roll on it, which I'm just not into Jelly Roll, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't think he's like a bad artist or anything of it. I just don't. And it's not anything of like him as a person. He seems like a really cool dude. Like everything I see about him, I'm like, dude, this dude seems awesome. I'm just not for his music that much of it. So the song just as like an ender, it's not really my favorite thing of it. And then it's just to like really, as I've just named off like all the tracks and that stuff of it, but to give some more like substance of like what I don't like about the album, I just his whole like Slim Shady persona that I know he's trying to like kill it off, but it also feels like he's going for like obviously like coup de grace. He's trying to like get that one final moment thing of it, but he's also like trying to spin a narrative that doesn't exist. Like they're talking about like Gen Z trying to cancel him, which maybe a couple people in Gen Z would want to cancel Eminem, but literally most of Gen Z grew up with Eminem because our parents made us listen to Eminem. He's also one of the most popular artists. I had to look it up. He's the 8th most listened to current artist on Spotify. He's in the top 10. And this was even before the album was released. It's just, I don't know what this kind of narrative is of it, because he can't go by he can't just, if he's going to be Slim Shady, there has to be some adversary of I'm trying to be canceled, people are trying to censor me. Because you go back in the day of like when he released the song White America, which is also one of my favorite songs of it, talking about of like, censorship in the music medium. But I'm also like, that had substance at the time because that was an actual thing that was trying to happen. But now he's talking about like Gen Z's trying to cancel me, and I'm like, no one wants to cancel you. Most of us, including me, grew up on Tyler the Creator's early work. And like, no offense, Eminem, I thought your stuff was like very scary. Like you have some lines in there that where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that. Which, that was the whole thing of it. And then you have Tyler the Creator. If you've listened to Bastard, if you listen to Goblin, if you listen to some of Wolf, all of that stuff honestly is darker. I'm not saying it's better. I'm saying it's darker than anything Eminem has said. And Tyler Creator is still thriving. He's thriving actually better now. So just this narrative he has to like spin of it, I'm just not into it. It's just kind of, it just gets annoying at a point of it, because it's like he's not triggering me. He's not triggering anyone, because he's got an entire thing where he says fuck blind people and like cripples, they suck or something like that. And it's like, it's almost comedic at a point of like, he's being so brash. But I'm like, at least when the difference is, and I don't think enough people get it, because yes, he technically said similar brash and out there stuff in his like prime, like originally like Slim Shady and all that stuff. The difference was it was spun in a clever way, like wordplay. He didn't just outright say it unless it was a punchline in a follow-up joke that he was doing, that you got like a rapid succession of just this edgy, like edgelord persona thing that he did. In this one, there's no punchline. He's just kind of saying it for the sake of saying it, but there's no substance and there's no actual person that it's going to affect. The only thing it's doing is causing like millennials to be like, oh, that'll teach them, where like just nobody really cares about that. And honestly, if this is the last Eminem album, I don't know if this is the last where he will be doing like the Slim Shady persona, which I was kind of confused by that, because I thought that's what Music to Be Murdered By was kind of like hinting at. And then I guess this one is supposed to be like, oh, it's actually happening now. I don't know if he's going to just be Eminem, he's going to be Marshal Mathers of it. But it kind of sucks that he feels that he needs to bring back Slim Shady just for this stuff of it. And everyone's talking about, oh, like Slim Shady's back. And I'm like, it just doesn't feel like the Slim Shady LP, Slim Shady, the Marshal Mathers, the Eminem show, any of that. This feels like closer to like Encore, where you just get like the jokes that don't land. You just get just mid like beats on there of it. You get a couple good songs here and there, which like I compare Death of Slim Shady to Encore like more than I think you would expect, just because it's just similar in the aspect of decent song, decent or good song, mid song, bad song, good song, mid song, decent song, so on and so on of it. But this one just has more songs, and it's over it's like an hour, and I think it's an hour and 4 minutes of a listen. And it's just after a while, like, there's a couple good songs, and I do like that he at least sprinkled out so it wasn't like a top heavy album, because he put like Toby near the end of the album, which was smart. That you had Guilty Conscience 2 near the end of it. You have Fuel at the in the middle point of it. You had like Brand New Dance in the first half. Overall, so like it wasn't too bad, and I don't think this is his worst album. I think this is better than Revival. Anything is better than Revival of it. It's better than Kamikaze, which at the time I thought it was good, like when it came out, but I'm also like, hindsight, this is the album that followed after Revival, so anything was going to be like To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar in my eyes, even though I hadn't even listened to the album yet, because I was a wee little lad of it. So it's better than that. I think it's slightly better than Encore. Like, it's like, you could really argue it to me. It's, if you take out the B-sides to Music Be Murdered By, it isn't better than Music Be Murdered By, but if you add the B-sides, it's better than Music Be Murdered By. So that's why I'm feeling like I'm going to give it a 5. It's a 5, because this album just, honestly, just kind of mid. And this is coming from a huge Eminem fan. I used to be a giant Eminem fan. Like, I still remember, like, everything I'm saying in this is, like, just pure off of stuff I remember, like, idolized this dude of it. And it's not like I hate him now or anything of it. It's just kind of sad to see, but it's just my honest opinion of it. But that's going to be it. Let me know what you thought about the album. What was your favorite song on it? Mine was Fuel with Jid on it, as I said in the album review. But yeah, just let me know. And that's going to be it.